And so that's kind of how I broke into the industry. Is Colleen Clinkenbeard, who I was kind of hanging out with her and Laura Bailey and a couple of her buddies at the time, Travis William, she brought me on to direct because they needed us to film in the booth. And she thought I was a good actor, but she didn't think I was a very good voice actor. And that's why she brought me on, because she didn't want me to, like, you know, she wanted me to, like, kind of learn and start directing whatever. And so I got really good, I think, very quickly at the directing side, or at least, you know, working with the actors and all that. One day she called me in to audition for Initial D. She was running auditions for like 3 or 4 days for that show. And I went in, I auditioned, and she told me after the audition was over, she was like, hey, so you know, you got Takumi. I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's, you know, it's a huge role. It's a long-running series. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Like, you know, really, and it's a kind of a low-key kid who didn't know he was good at something. I love that. And she was like, oh, and also, I'm gonna go direct this other show, so I think I'm gonna have you direct this one. Like, wait, the one that you just cast me as the lead in? And she's like, yeah, you're gonna be directing that too. Talk about nerve-wracking. Like, it's like, like I say, I'm a stage actor, and so it took me a long time, like about 2 years, to where I was even comfortable in the movie. And like, I'm comfortable on stage, I'm comfortable acting, no big deal. But like, to actually like hold the microphone and not to know how far close to get to it or whatever, and like to have to be darting back and forth between the script and the animation, it was just really, it was nerve-wracking in and of itself. And then before I even wrapped my head around that, she cast me as Lydia. And so now I'm directing myself, and use, you know, I think the least number of lines I had in that show were like 80 or something. That's 2 or 3 hours. My engineer, Stephen Huff, of that anime show, I don't know if you guys have seen that podcast, he and Terry Cody do that, it's really good. He was my engineer at the time, and we would get 10 or so takes at the same reaction before Stephen was like, dude, we got it, move on. But like, I couldn't turn off the director. Hey, probably do it better. So, yeah, eventually I relaxed. That was one of the most, it was some of the most fun I've ever had in the show, but it was also just one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Not having that second set of ears to tell you it's good or bad.
Is your opinion on Tofu any different now that you've voiced Takumi?
Tofu?
Yeah.
Never been a Tofu fan. We had no impact on that whatsoever.
Now, what about like cars? Like, have you gotten into cars at all or anything like that?
Not really. No, I've never been much of a car guy, but I will say I did a while back. I was interested in, and I've always been interested in doing more conventions, just because, you know, like I was saying, you know, it's really fun to interact with people and find people's reactions to what we do. And so, to that end, I was kind of trying to think of how I could get into more conventions. How, you know, I just started emailing people and talking to a couple of friends that do a lot of them. But one thing that my engineer, Steven, who's a car guy, brought up that I thought was a genius idea. He was like, why don't you buy the A6? Okay. So we got on eBay, and eBay Motors, and started looking through all the different models of the A6 that he goes through and modifies throughout the course of the series. And we found something interesting. You can buy a Torino 86 from almost any year in the, I'd say probably from the early 90s to mid 80s. You can buy anywhere in there. You can buy the 86 for about $3 grand, used, of course. If you want to buy the one that Takumi drives, it's between 8 and 9. And
wow.
It's called the Takumi tax. It really is. It really is. Actually, the show is so wildly popular, first in Japan, and then it has a decent number of fans here, that like people buy and modify these cars. They'll paint the hood black for season 3. They'll paint it just like you can buy the decal for the side that says Fuji or Tofu Shop. And people trick these cars out like he did on the show. And so because of that demand, people ask them for cars now. And so I would love to have gotten one, but yeah, it's okay.
I saw, like, stuff on Rosario
I was not in Rosario. That was my buddy Ian Sinclair directed that, I believe. I may have done like a bit or two for it, and that's the thing about working with PortConMaine is that
I wish there was more people here right now.
No recollection of whatsoever, because like a director, Colleen Clinkenbeard or Mike McFarland or anybody else will be like near the end of their contract and like, oh my god, we forgot to get Guy A and Soldier D. And so they come knock on my door and out of the booth and I do a couple of bits, but I never know what I'm doing or what the story is about.
Did you direct Okami-san?
I did not and so I know she had me direct myself a lot because she likes long lunches, and that's fine. And so I'd have to work out, myself on my character, and I think near the end I may have picked up just a few episodes of the end.
Keep going.
Yeah, what about?
Aren't you doing that again?
Oh, right. Stage weren't what we hoped. From that's my understanding. This is not official word from Foundation, but from what I have heard, they really expected it to do this well, and it did this well. And so as much as we've been going around promoting it and trying to talk to people about it and everything, it's really that first initial push of DVD sales that really helps us to continue the series. Another one that we have ceased production on that have been desperate to get back to is Sergeant Frog. We got all the way through the first 3 seasons. What?
Doesn't help that Tokyo Pop went under and they had the distribution rights for the
Right.
English.
Yeah. Sergeant Frog, I think we got through the first 3 seasons entirely. Those are all released now. And we were actually almost done recording the first contract of the 4th season, so I think maybe 5 or 6 episodes. We had done almost all of it, and then I got, somebody knocked my door and I opened up, and they're like, hey, we're finishing up Sergeant Frog, DVD sales weren't what we thought they were going to be, so go ahead and wrap it up. I'm like, well, what about this contract we're working on now? He's like, it's probably not going to see the light of day. There were some epic episodes in that batch. I would love for it to be released. I'd love to pick up production on it again, but really I think it just goes back to, if that first week is released, if the sales don't meet expectations, it's really kind of hard for us.
That's because they're too damn expensive. Especially nowadays.
Actually, my question was, what part did you have in that series?
Oh, the part that I had, I was, Hanai, or Hanai, I can't remember how to say that. But yeah, and actually, the show that I'm working on now, or that I just finished working on, that I can't talk about yet, I will say this. There is a baseball team in this series. I won't say how prevalent they are throughout the entire series, but there's a baseball team in high school, and I did everything in my power to get the original cast that they lined up to come in and be that team. So, they will, we all get back together at some point, it's just not in that particular show, so. Yeah, you got it?
Yeah, I was wondering, because I know you were talking about like Sergeant Frog ceasing production and everything. Well, now, did you ever do any work with Detective Conan, also known as Case Closed?
Did I do any work on Case Closed?
Yeah, did you do any work on that?
Yeah, I think a firefighter or something. With a name. I am definitely,
Because what I found out was that a few weeks ago, Funimation actually went on a site that everyone goes to now for fan subs of the show, because I haven't really seen Funimation do anything with the series lately, but apparently Funimation asked to cease the production of that fan sub, and because of that, the site complied with that, and now there's no current official fan sub for that show. I mean, because in Japan the series is almost up to 660 episodes,
right.
And here in America they've only released maybe 100 something, and not only a fraction of the movies that they have.
Well, I know that I don't know the site you're talking about, but I know that a lot of illegal fan sub or streaming sites are just about the worst thing for business for us. And so if you can get something online for free, it's hard to convince someone that they should invest in the actual product.
Yeah, because I originally got into the series because of the English dub from Funimation, and I was one of the few people that actually really got into the series, and I would pay a bunch of money to get all the other movies on DVDs. There's still some I haven't seen yet, but I don't know if Funimation's going to do anything with that series at all.
I haven't heard anything about it, but yeah, I know that things like that. It's a great way to get people interested in the shows, but it also makes it just infinitely more difficult for us to actually obtain the license.
Especially if you don't really have much of an audience, because the show never really took off here in America, unlike Japan, where it's like I said, getting near 700 episodes, which is crazy.
It's hard to get traction because they didn't know where to market it.
I would want people on English dub. I know my buddy is belligerently against watching anything English dub. totally different now. They're not hiring like, oh, his voice sounds good.
Yeah.
Put him in the end. They're hiring people like yourself who are trained actors.
Right.
And I tell them that now. You know what?
And to be honest, like, I've heard a lot about the dub versus sub debate, and as long as you're watching anime, I don't care. You know, like I was saying, we're not into dubbing because like we want to, take a good show and make it better. You know, like we don't want to change anything. Well, to me, dubbing is like translating Shakespeare into every language on the planet, which has been done. It allows someone the opportunity to enjoy a piece of art that they would normally have not been able to. And so, people want to watch the subs, rock on. That's great. I wish I could read and watch TV at the same time. But yeah, of course we thoroughly enjoy it. Now, when I started off at Funimation, part of the reason that they hired me was because I had no anime background whatsoever. And I didn't find that out until later, but when I was doing my interview, and I'd done 2 weeks of training, and I guess I still had to jump through like one more hoop before they decided to hire me on. And the question was posed to me: what do you like about anime? What do you hate about anime? And what do you think you can bring to the table? And my response was, I don't know anything about anime. I've never seen anime. I'm an actor. And I think, as much as the whole time as it was coming out of my mouth, I was like, don't say this, don't say this, don't say this. Say you love it. Say you memorize Dragon Ball Z. The fact of the matter is, I had no experience with it whatsoever. And so, when I went back for an evaluation later on, I started talking about, what I think I bring to the table. And it's that. And I think that's what a lot of people, are really kind of trying to further in the industry now is, like you were saying, not just the right voice, but somebody who can get across the emotion and create a character. When I bring in, I do a lot of stage acting stuff, and when I bring in my theater friends to do voiceover, on occasion, it's painful to hear what they think anime sounds like. Because they're familiar with the old school anime, the stuff that's kind of over the top and extreme, exaggerated, and all that. And we still do things like that when it's appropriate to the series. But if I don't really walk them through, we're going for realism and all that, then their assumption is, oh, we're doing anime voices, and it all sounds like Speed Racer, which is great, but that doesn't necessarily work for Dead Man Wonderland or whatever. So yeah, I think, and again, my experience in anime before I started at Funimation is minimal. But from what I have seen, even in products that were released in the 2000s, I have seen a marked improvement in the level of actors, and the level of skill that both the actors and directors and the engineers that are bring to the table. And really, I think that's best for everybody involved. And because Dead Man Wonderland right now is getting a lot of viewers, people are really watching it. It helps that it's on, cable TV in a really fun block of programming. But it's one of those things where we're trying to. This is one of the few opportunities that we get to show the rest of the world, the ones that don't come to PortCon, that this is a viable industry. This is an art form. It's not our art form. It's Japan's. And we try to maintain as much of that as humanly possible. But just the idea that we can say these lines, we can translate these lines and tell the same story without losing any of the value. And so I hope we've done a decent job.